Hello, I'm back again. Hello, this is going to be the second to last video for now. I have done my fabric of knitting. As you can see, it's square. I have checked there is an actual square by pulling over the fabric. So you can see it's a nice little triangle, made up like two little triangles with that. You can see, okay. And I am going to cast off as illustrated earlier on. I'm going to do that again now. Want to go and tell you about reading your knitting. Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the questions could be, oh, Nadia, how come you're doing your knitting without tallying things on a piece of paper? Well, what you do is with this type of fabric that you've got now, which is your garter stitch fabric, this is where you've knitted row upon row, and you can count how many rows you've done by counting the sort of bumpy bits in pairs. So this is your bit with a little sort of holy bit at the bottom here. That is your casting on row, and the row above is also the casting on row, but it is the upward turn bit. That's the upward turn bit, is the part of your casting on row, and then the underneath bit is the next row on top. But what you can do is count, and that is to say read your knitting. So I can tell you I have done 36 rows on this so far. So I'm going to count them with you. I'm going to count them now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 2, 4 and 6. Right, I'm going to start doing the casting off. Try and make this a short video for once. So again, put your needle in as if to knit behind your left hand needle. Get your working yarn, take it round the back between the needles, find your gate and off. In the loop, round the back, find the gate and off. And this time, instead of going, like I said before, instead of going and doing more knitting, this is where you cast off. This is casting off one stitch. So you have to knit 2 stitches before you can cast off 1 stitch. So that's 1 stitch cast off. Again, knit the next one along and take the loop of the old stitch and pull it over the new stitch, and you've cast off 2 stitches. I'm going to do it one more time. Needle in the loop, round the back, find the gate and off. And when you do cast off, you get the old stitch and put it over the new stitch, and that's cast off 3 stitches now. I'm going to do 2 more. In the loop, round the back, find your gate, off. And then old stitch over new stitch, and you've cast off 4 stitches. Last one for this video. Round, find the gate, off, and casting off, old stitch over new stitch, and that's five stitches that have been cast off. That one hasn't been cast off, the one that's still on the needle, that's live still, but this one's cast off. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That one's sort of like the end of the last row, kind of. You can see it's good, isn't it? Very pretty. Pretty. I'll see you in the next video. That one won't be so long. Bye. Okay, this is the last video. Just for this, just to do these squares for this time. Okay, so we're going to do the last 3 casting offs in the loop, round the back, find your gate and off, casting off, get the old stitch over the new stitch, and you've got that one left on your right hand needle. Again, and there we go, and again, round the back, round the back, in between, find your gate and off, and you've got 2 stitches left. This is going to be this is really easy, you just get that old stitch get the old stitch on over the new stitch, and you've got 1 stitch left. You can either pull that through, or you can get about 6 inches of your working yarn, cut it. Let's all do the right thing. There we go, cut it. It's a bit short actually, that wasn't clever. Never mind. But you're going to be using this tail. You're going to be using this tail of yarn later. So do not cut it short. Try and make it as long as possible if you can, really. Say about 6 to 10 inches is a good bit of length to use. Okay, you just put it through that loop and finished. And there's your square. You can do all kinds of things with this sort of when you learn just these few skills: casting on, knitting rows, making sure your gauge is right, reading your knitting, and casting off. You can do loads of things with this. You can do hand warmers, you can do gloves so that it covers your hand like that, but of course longer. You can do pan holders with wadding in between, or even several of these sewn together. Okay, and we're done for today. There'll be more skills to learn next week, including purl and maybe even knitting 2 stitches together. Ooh, exciting stuff. Right, anyway, have a good week. I'll see you next week. Bye.